You're having trouble toggling it on in Restream?
Well, it looks like Restream is having issues. All right, no, we're good. All right, we're up.
Oh, cool. I see it.
All right.
Nice. It's all in there. Well done.
I may have made the title too long though.
Yeah, but you kind of did it. So too late.
All right. Very cool. Well, I guess we'll give people a second to get in here. Kosala, did you see the tweet?
Um,
It should have tagged you as well as my Ether wallet.
yeah, I'll tell my team to retweet it if she's up.
Weird.
What's weird?
Like Restream, you know how it has like that little monitor? It just says offline still, but if you look at Periscope, it's working.
Back. Well, it is working. So, okay. Should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Kosala, how do you pronounce your last name?
Hemachandra?
One more time?
Hemachandra. Just like
Okay,
it's,
Hemachandra.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Welcome to the second live stream of the day. We have the CEO of My Ether Wallet, Kosala Hemachandra, reporting all the way from Sri Lanka. Thanks for waking up early and hopping on to POV Crypto. Really excited to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to talk about a bunch of things on this podcast, primarily talking about some new features that are coming out with My Ether Wallet. But before we start, why don't you intro yourself and kind of give our listeners a little info on why you are stuck in Sri Lanka right now and not in LA?
That's a good question. So to give a little bit of background about me and My Ether Wallet started off with just an idea to help or create a tool to help the community who struggled, the early adopters who struggled to get into Ethereum. So My Ether Wallet was released like weeks after the Ethereum mainnet launch. I was working really hard on getting it like up and live after I saw so many people having issues on like doing basic things like sending a transaction or like creating a wallet or accessing their like pre-sale wallet. So after I saw all those like issues, I was like, okay, maybe there's a opportunity for me over here to like jump in and help out these people and create a UI, because back then it was only command line. So anyone who's not familiar with command line struggled on how to get in like and do basic transactions. So that's how My Ether Wallet came up, or like that's what gave life to My Ether Wallet. And now our user base is from like early adopters to everyone who uses Ethereum, to all the people like DeFi advocates or people who wants to get into Ethereum, like, and know like the educational side of it. So we have this huge scope, or like huge spectrum of users that we support currently. And
Before you move on, Kosala, as a first time customer of My Ether Wallet, when I first got into the crypto space, I got in there in 2017, and that was the place where I learned to manage my private keys. And so tip of the hat to you for helping me in my beginnings with Ethereum and crypto and everything. My Ether Wallet felt like the homepage for me and learning how to use a wallet. but that was in the middle of 2017, right? And so you say that my Ether wallet has this big scope of users. How has that scope of users changed over time? Like during each new, like crypto like evolves like every 12 months, right? So over the last like 3-4 years, how has the average user of my Ether wallet kind of evolved or changed over time too?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically what happened was initially, just like I mentioned, it was made as a tool to help out these people who struggled, like the early adopters, or people who already had some sort of a technical background, but not enough to like use the command line and understand the whole scope of Ethereum. And that's what it was meant for. But as Ethereum grew, like that user base changed. And then we, like my wallet kept adding new features with Ethereum. Like whenever Ethereum introduced a new feature, we added it, we had it. And then 2017, that's probably when like during the ICO boom, that's probably when you used my wallet as well. Like, please correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the time, like that's where the big switch happened from like technical users to um, day-to-day users, right? Like the people who wanted to get into Ethereum, like, and then understand crypto or like get into blockchain. And that's when it like completely flipped. And I wouldn't say completely, but like majority of the people became day-to-day users rather than like the people who already had the technical background. And from there onwards, our user base grew uh, more towards day-to-day users, and like and then the amount of developers who already has technical background is very minimal compared to like the amount of users we get who doesn't have the technical background compared to like our early days. So now my wallet is to go place to transact in Ethereum and get into DeFi within 60 seconds or less.
DeFi in 60 seconds or less. What does that mean? Take us down a little bit with what that is. What are the different DeFi protocols that you can get into with my Ether wallet?
Yeah, so my wallet, like it supports on ramping, meaning like if you have USD, Euro, or any fiat currencies, you can convert it to or like get into or buy ETH using my wallet. And at the same time, once you get into like if once you have ETH, you can use all these different DeFi apps. Obviously, like sending value can be considered as a DeFi application, right? Like I think of Bitcoin as the first DeFi application. So going from that, Ethereum, Ethereum is like, yeah, sending value in Ethereum is like one of the applications. And then we also support MakerDAO, which is like one of the most popular DeFi applications out there. And then recently we integrated Aave lending platform where you can lend and borrow um, and yeah, so have collateral, and then we completely integrated their platform to my Ether wallet. So all the my Ether wallet users have access to that. And then we are also like currently working with multiple other DeFi projects on integration and then getting them into my wallet as well.
So with the My Ether wallet team, and kind of leading into you being stuck in Sri Lanka right now, where is the team based, or is it mostly distributed, or what's that look like?
So we are actually one of the few companies or like few organizations in crypto space who has a office space. And our main office space is based in LA, downtown Los Angeles, and majority of our team, including myself, is based in LA. So what happened to me was towards the end of like every year, end of the year, I travel to, because my parents, my mom is in Sri Lanka, and I travel, I visit, because I'm originally from Sri Lanka. I visit to see her like towards the end of the year. And I did the exact same thing end of 2019. But this time, and then I even like visited Malaysia towards the end of the 2019, and then came back to Sri Lanka. And what happened was the whole pandemic happened. So like towards the mid-January, I was like, okay, like there's some weirdness going on. Maybe I'll like wait a couple more weeks and see like it's gonna get better. And then once it gets better, I'll fly. And then it only got worse and worse from that point towards until like Sri Lanka went to complete lockdown. So they shut down the airport, they shut down all the stores, they shut down postal service. So and they put curfew on all day long, so no one can leave the house. Everyone has to stay inside the house, and which made it so that I ended up having to run my Ether wallet from home in Sri Lanka. So now I'm doing that.
So we definitely want to get into, focusing on my ether and crypto in general. But I guess like while you're in this unique position, why don't you kind of talk about like what are the challenges that you've had to face? Like it sounds like earlier before we started recording, you're talking about how your sleep schedule is a little out of whack. Like what is it like to be a CEO of a company, with a 12-hour time difference?
That's awesome question. So basically when it first started, my goal was to stay up until, so yeah, it's completely like 12 and a half hours different. So pretty much you add 30 minutes and then switch, flip AM to PM and PM to AM, and then it's completely opposite time. So initially my goal was to stay up until like 2 a.m. Or 2:30 a.m. Sri Lankan time. So it's 2 p.m. in LA. So until then, like I'll take care of all the day-to-day business stuff, like talk with the team, make sure they know what to finish for that day, and then they know what needs to get done for them, like that week's release, and all this day-to-day tasks, and then go to sleep at 2:30. But so it started as that, and then eventually it slowly moved towards like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. So some days I go to sleep at like 7 a.m. Sri Lankan time. So that's like 6:30 p.m. LA time, and that's been I would say like that's one of the um, weird situations that happen, or like weird circumstances that happen because of this whole like me having to run a company uh, from Sri Lanka. But in a way, it's okay. Like it's okay towards me because I'm a night owl, so I'm used to staying up late, but not as late as like 7 a.m. I used to go to sleep around like 3 a.m. every day. So that's yeah. So that's one of the things that I have to deal with on a daily basis. And out because of that, my sleep schedule is completely, yeah, just like you said, like whack. I don't have any other words to explain that. It's completely, I don't know when I go to sleep. So whenever I feel like sleepy, I just go to sleep and then wake up in like 7, 6, 7, 8 hours, and then continue my day.
Yeah, I mean, so while your situation is rather extreme, I think it is a testament to, how like the work from home infrastructure that's here now, right? Like the fact that you can
Yeah.
do this and you can stay up late and just make it work. Like it's really incredible. And I think that's probably like one of the biggest things that we're seeing in the world is learning about from COVID is, just how good all this kind of like productivity tooling is and how capable anyone is to just kind of work from their laptop.
Exactly. No, that's a very good point. That's also like something that I've been telling, that at the end of this, because this is going to end, right? At the end of this COVID whole pandemic, we'll learn what can be done remotely and what cannot be done remotely. There are certain jobs that cannot be done remotely. Like for example, teaching is a good example, because like, yeah, you can still do it remotely. Like teachers are trying, but for the past like weeks and months, I've been reading articles about how teachers are failing at it so miserably because students are not participating, or like they're not even joining the calls. So it's there are certain the jobs and certain tasks you can definitely do remotely. And then it also reminds me of that saying that totally could have been an email, not a meeting. That saying that's like, yeah, why did we have this meeting when it could have been a simple email? So now we are learning all that, right? Like now we are like, okay, we don't have to schedule something, we can just send out an email and be like, okay, like please get these things done, and then that's it. um, and this whole situation will be a good lesson, good outcome at the end for everyone, like for the humanity to learn what task and what jobs can be done remotely, and how to optimize it, and then make good use of it.
For sure. So, I mean, I think getting back to crypto, you've
Yeah.
been with Ethereum since day one. I'm kind of curious to get your take, like being essentially the original Ethereum wallet. There's now, a lot more tooling in that department, but how has like Ethereum developed, and what are the big surprises? What are you expecting? I'm just kind of curious, like, what has it been, six years since Ethereum launched?
2015 August. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so 5 years,
getting
five
there.
years.
Yeah, we're getting there. So it's I think in general it's like a good experience for blockchain, because like before then Bitcoin existed, right? Like simple value transfer, and then there were a ton of Bitcoin folks. So all of them focused on like privacy solutions for value transfer or just simple value transfer. Those were the like only two concepts we had related to blockchain. But with Ethereum, that whole situation changed. So basically, what happened was like Ethereum introduced smart contracts and logics and Turing completeness and all these like extremely super massive keywords to this blockchain ecosystem. And at first, it sounded like, oh, this is super complicated. But
Buzzword
now
bingo.
now we are getting to learn more about it, and then now we like know like the definitions and concepts behind these like big keywords right now. So it doesn't look that scary anymore. But that's what Ethereum did. Ethereum changed how we look at blockchain. So now we have control over like creating transactions based on logic. So we know what's the outcome is. It's deterministic. We know if like A plus B will lead to C, and that's guaranteed. And things like that. That's definitely that's what like whole blockchain and whole crypto ecosystem learned because of Ethereum. And then as Ethereum grew, like we learned a lot of things that Ethereum can achieve. Like DeFi didn't exist. I mean, like DeFi as in right now, like the DeFi apps and all that did not exist like a year or like a year and a half ago. So those are the things that we learned as Ethereum grew. We knew, like we figured out like, oh, these are the ways that we can optimize smart contracts. And these are the ways that we can prevent hacks or like threats or any vulnerabilities. And these are the ways that we can achieve high number of transactions per second. And these are the limitations. And so that was a big learning curve, or like learning lesson we learned over the past 5 years or so. With uh, compared to early days, like the user base Ethereum had was very very small, but now it's extremely high. So like we have to be more careful like on upgrades and like implementing new features and um, um, implementing new like concepts. So we have to be extremely careful in doing that, so that if we do some mistake, the loss of the outcome will be devastating. So instead of doing that, so these are the things that we learned over time um, as Ethereum grew. And then same with my Ether wallet. Like initially we were releasing updates every day, or like I'll make a line change and then like release it right away. Um, because like we only had 10, 15, 20, maybe 50 users who visits my Ether wallet today. But now like we have 1.3 million unique visitors every month. So now we have to be extremely careful on every single line of code that we write, like make sure multiple people review it, and all those things. And like feature releases are happening every week compared to like once a month before. That means something new happens in Ethereum every week or so that we can implement and we can integrate and we can give it to our users.
So you said you are now very responsible for a lot of people that use my Ether wallet. So how has that impacted the long-term vision of my Ether wallet, and also like the design decisions? Like everyone wants to integrate into DeFi until they realize that when you do that, you then become responsible for some sort of you have some sort of responsibility. And so how has
Yeah.
your my Ether wallets like ethos or goals or trajectory with how your guys' product is, how has that changed as a result of that?
Yeah. So initially myetherwallet.com was just that's the only product that we had. And later on we learned, okay, like in order for people to use Ethereum, we have to educate them first. In order to make our users use my Ether wallet, or like get new users onboarded to my Ether wallet, we have to make sure they know what they're doing, they're educated. So we were like, okay, we have to create a platform that can educate people and like let them know, okay, these are the steps, these are the things that you have to follow. So we created that. And then not just that, we learned that not because like you can have 100 different articles or like 1,000 different articles, but it doesn't mean people will read that. So and then I'm pretty sure like that you notice in like early days we had like 5 different pop-ups at the beginning giving warnings to users saying, oh, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this,
I
don't
clicked
do
through
this.
those a number of times.
Exactly. But I'm like, if I ask you how many times you actually read it, I don't know, maybe once, maybe never, right? Like exactly.
Once, definitely once, at least once.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, you're like next. So that's exactly what everyone did. So and then we learned that, and then we are like, okay, this is not the way to educate people. We have to educate people on the steps that they take. So or we have to make it, instead of saying, oh, please don't do this or don't do this, we're just going to make them not able to do that. So that way there's no way for them to like fall for these like attacks or like phishing attacks and all those things. So that's when we're like, okay, we need another product. We see a problem here. People are getting into like going through phishing attacks and like getting hacked and all this. So we created our MEW Connect, our first mobile app. So and then eventually we realized, okay, our mobile app exists, which is only a signing tool. So you can sign. So instead, think of it as a hardware wallet on your phone, and you connect it with my wallet and do all the tasks, right? And but like later on we learned that, okay, this is not enough, we have to add more features to this app. So we ended up creating MEW Wallet. And then we also like realized, okay, there's a group of people who wants to access my Ether wallet in different dApps page. So right now all the features that offered by my Ether wallet, you have to go to my Ether wallet and then use that. But like we realized, okay, there's a separate another set of users that who wants to use their wallet in a dApps page, like similar to MetaMask. So we created MEW CX. So whenever we see a problem, like whenever we see a bottleneck in Ethereum ecosystem or my Ether wallet experience, we jump in and we either like simplify that whole process, or we create a new tool that people can use that's actually meant specifically for that bottleneck to clear that up and then make it big and then make it easy. So that's pretty much that's how we've been growing our company and like our team and like our ethos over the past 5 years or so.
So here's one thing I want to ask you about, and this is actually just closer as a like a operations to operations conversation, because I field so many goddamn customer service requests at Realty through a little intercom portal, and like I can't, and like at least half of them are customer service requests for things that are like outside of our scope, like people asking us like, hey, help, how do I do this? And I'm like, that's not even relevant to my company or my products or services. Like you're just coming to my website and asking me for help. So I'm assuming that has happened a lot with my Ether wallet. So how have you guys like managed that?
A ton.
Oh my God.
The
it's
worst
so
cases,
annoying.
I was 2017.
It was so annoying. No, it is. Yeah, 2017.
I got
like,
scammed. Help.
I lost my private key. Please restore. But like, I can at least understand those things. But you know, the worst ones. The worst ones, are the ones that like they released a token and then they created a blockchain and then they switched over the token. So the users are no longer able to access that token. Or like they created a new version of the token and there's like a migration process that no one knows how to do. And people always, and like every single ICO, like at least majority of the ICOs that happened in 2017 went through some sort of a migration process. And I swear, like we've gotten so many emails about all these like different migrations. Or why can't I send my token? Like I see my token right here. It says I have this many tokens, but like I cannot send it. It's locked. And we are like, okay, so these people, that token that we have no idea what it is, or like how they even bought it. Some were even like airdropped, right? Like some tokens just got it, and nobody knows, like not even them know, like the users don't know how they got it or like what kind of token it is. They just want to send it to someone or like sell it or do something with it, but they can't because they didn't migrate or they didn't do a specific process. So even today, like today I was dealing with one of the like apparently over the weekend we received so many tickets about I'm not going to say like which token it is, but like over a token that migrated. I'm pretty sure you can look it up, like last week.
Why
And
not?
It's okay.
We want the juice.
It's the Minarium token, and then they migrate.
Never heard of it.
Exactly. So, but like we got so many tickets about it, and like, and then we're like, okay, so apparently you have to do like 3-step process to migrate, and like you had to click step 1, step 2, and like increase your level. I have no idea. So at some point I gave up trying to figure out like how to migrate these tokens to the new contract that they have. And then simply, this is a situation where I was like, okay, you just have to like reach out their support team and then get the information, or like follow these guidelines, right? Like the guidelines are extremely complicated. It was even complicated for me. So I'm hoping like the actual people, the support team that they have will support the users. But to answer your question, yes, we do get a ton of these like support requests that are not related to my Ether wallet. But if it is related somehow to Ethereum, and if it's like simple enough, if it's easy enough, we will do our best to support the user, because like they get stuck. If they somehow get stuck, or like in a step that they try to use my Ether wallet to do a certain task in Ethereum, but like they couldn't continue, we'll do our best to support it. But like if it's a completely different organization, or like a completely different token that did something like last minute and didn't teach the people like what to do, then we usually like send an email and be like, hey, you have to reach out to this team. This is their email. This is how you can reach out to them. Like if they have Twitter handles, we'll put them in there as well, and like email addresses. We'll do the research. You've done that.
No, I'm saying I'm sure they love that.
Oh yeah. But that's exactly what we do though, because like I want to help them, but unfortunately like we don't have the capacity to handle everything. And at the same time, I think that the people should have done, meaning like these tokens, people should have done a better job educating their customers, the consumers.
I bet that you have just some amazing and horrible horror stories of just shit coins galore and every scam that you can imagine. 2017, 2018, I'm sure it's full of it.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to kind of move over to ETH2. Again, you've been involved with Ethereum really since day one. I'm kind of curious, like personally, just for context, I'm an ETH2 skeptic and Ethereum skeptic in general. So I'm just kind of curious, like what is happening with ETH2 right now? What can we expect? What are you excited about?
Okay, so when we talk about ETH2, we have to like, this is something that has been promised for like the past 2-3 years, right? Like since the beginning of Ethereum, like, oh, POS is going to happen. Like POS will happen like in 2 years, POS, and then in 2 years, like it got postponed to like another year, and then another year.
Yeah, in 2 years, it was 2017.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was the promise, right? I'm gonna accept that. That's exactly like that's what was promised, but it didn't happen. I mean, I totally understand, like coming from an Ethereum like a user standpoint, or like someone who's familiar with like what's going on. It's one main reason is this kind of POS system has never been done before. So there are like delegated POS, right? Like delegated proof of stake. You assign certain people, and then they validate the chain and all that. But um, this POS system is completely decentralized. So meaning like anyone can become a validator, anyone can stake ETH, and then they get paid. And so there are like definitely there are issues that comes with it, and that's why we went through so many different like proof of stake algorithms or like concept, and then we changed it, and we're like, okay, this is not going to work, okay, this is how we're going to do it, or like, okay, we don't need another chain, and then at the end finally we decided, okay, we need another chain, like, so the beacon chain came to life. So beacon chain is, that's what's going to happen in near term. So whenever you read about like ETH 2.0, oh, ETH 2.0 is happening, or POS, Ethereum is going proof of stake and all that, that it's the complete proof of stake is not going to happen soon. Okay, like maybe like a year away, or maybe 2 years away. But
Well, hey, hang on. So with phase zero,
yeah,
you do begin staking and receiving staking rewards. You start to receive block issuance, right?
you
So
do receive rewards,
right.
but there's no way to convert them to ETH yet.
Well, they're already in ETH. They're in ETH on the staking chain.
Beacon chain?
Beth.
Staking chain, the beacon chain? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's Beth.
That's Beth, man.
Yeah,
That's
but
not you.
that is ETH in the future.
In the future. So we are not there yet. So
I mean, Beacon. Hey, wait. Beacon chain ETH is ETH 2.0 ETH.
Yes.
Yes.
But we're not there yet. Like we cannot, like you, if you ask me, okay, I want, like I earn 10 bet in rewards and then I want to cash it out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way for that yet.
Yeah, but like
it's ETH. I agree. I totally agree.
It's still ETH. It still counts as ETH. You count it.
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing that if you have Beth, all you have to do is wait and hope that ETH2 works. And then everyone's coming over so you can redeem your ETH.
Yes.
But it is ETH.
Or trade it potentially at a discount for
or trade it at a discount. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
or a premium.
No, I totally agree with you. It's just that
doubtful since it's a one-way function, right?
yeah, it's just a one-way function. If you have ETH, you can convert to Beth or BETH.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have BETH, you cannot convert yet, or even after the until like it's finalized and like until we implement complete POS and ETH 2.0 to ETH back. So so beacon chain is something like a clock tick, right? Like every tick you do certain things and like you figure out who are the validators. You randomly create a random number that deterministic at the same time. So yeah, all the technical details of like how you choose the validators and how this chain works, and the rewards. So which is in BEP. So that's what's going to happen most likely. Again, this was promised April, or like beginning of this year, beginning of 2020, and then the audit happened, and then the audit actually found out like two main issues, and one of them will be solved towards the end, or like more research needs to be done, and the other issue is like a DDoS issue where like you can send millions of like fake information to the network, which can slow down the network and all this. So that is being solved as of right now. So
I have a question on the audit part. You said it's getting sent out for audit. So like Ethereum is like the most pioneering piece of technology like of its time, right? Like what else, what other piece of technology is in the furthest reaches of unexplored territory? So like how do you even do an
audit that? Yeah, how do you even audit that?
That's not even an opinion, Christian. How do you even audit that? How do you audit that piece of code? Like who has the expertise to even do that?
I think it is totally a legit question. Even the team that audited it, like if I'm remembering correctly, like I'm not gonna quote the whole sentence, but like said something about, okay, this technology has not been like evolved, or like had not been used enough, or like battle tested. So like our discoveries are based on like whatever the information or knowledge that they have. So it is no, it is totally a true, like, legit question. And like, how can you even audit something that not like, what are you going to audit it against, right? Like, you have to have another,
You're just gonna
like,
look for typos,
right? So no, so yeah, it's a legit question. So I think that the mainly what they were auditing against is the technological side of things, and the algorithm, and then cryptography, right? So like the things that they can prove, okay, like A should leads to B and all that, and then make sure they work fine. And but yeah, to answer that, like, auditing is not the only solution, or like only, just because the audit report says 100% good doesn't mean like it's good. It's never good. So that's why I really agree with Vitalik's approach. Even with Ethereum, like when Ethereum first came out, mainnet, he wanted to have multiple clients, right? So like, instead of just having Go Ethereum client, he had Java version, Python version, C++ version, and all these different clients. And then he's pretty much taking the same approach with 2.0, or like the beacon chain development, the multi-client approach, where multiple different languages. So you write the exact same client in multiple different languages, and then by multiple different people. Meaning, like, while you're doing this, and then since the program is like, no two programmers will think the same way. So when you write it, when different programmers are writing it in completely different languages, you run into these like edge cases that no one thought of. And that's a good approach to solve these like unforeseen, or like unexpected issues that might have um, happen like in a later day. So that's the exact same approach that's going to be done for 2.0. Bless you.
makes sense. Couldn't even hear
So yeah, I saw it.
So I have a question for you, Kosala.
Yes.
Kind of as a Ethereum skeptic, one of my critiques of the Ethereum plan is that the ETH 1.0 chain has done all of this kind of like build up, right?
Yeah.
And essentially established like this history of security and trust. And it seems like the ETH 2.0 is resetting that Lindy. So like Lindy describes, if something's around, then you can expect it to be around for, if something's around a long period of time, you can expect it to be around for a long period of time. Like
Yeah.
that kind of trust is being reset with ETH 2.0. Do you like, is that, what does that statement make you feel? Is it accurate?
So I agree with you in certain ways, and like completely disagree with you in like another like certain ways. So it like, for example, you're thinking about for example, like Bitcoin chain, right? Like, they created one, they have set of rules, and it's been battle tested for like since 29, so like for 11 years. And you don't have to do any changes. If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So that's pretty much like the mindset. And and for certain cases, like in Bitcoin, even though like, in a way, I think at the same time, I think Bitcoin is a software, so they should be able to update or like issue updates, as long as there's a consensus on like from the community, or like more than like 51% people accept it. So that's like the way I think of it. Think of it. Think of the whole situation. Um, and Ethereum, in like Ethereum's case, this is what was promised since the beginning. So POS was the end goal. It was like POW, like proof of work, was only temporary. So everyone who got into Ethereum like at the beginning, and I mean even in the middle, right, since then until now, if you go all the way back to the initial plan was to have POS. So POS is the end goal, and once we achieve POS, I think that's where we set the rules. Like, okay, we have this set of rules, and we'll continue it from this point onwards forever, only with like minor changes. So versus it's different from Bitcoin, because Bitcoin already had proof of work, and that's what was promised, and that's what it is. And that continues since from that point until now, or like even future, even though in like certain places, certain situations, I don't agree with all the Bitcoin, like I'm talking about BTC folks on certain updates. So like they say, okay, like we don't want to implement these updates because we might run into security issues and we might like get into a problem that we didn't expect and all this. And um, but without updates, you'll run into more problems. So you have to figure out where to balance it off and which way to go. So that's why like Ethereum, in a way, like it's good because like as long as we have the community consensus, we'll go ahead and implement the feature and then create a fork and continue with it. And it's also a way to battle test it, make sure that it's ready and it's we can continue and like we can add features and we have a process to create forks and process to upgrade the chain.
Do you have any more ETH2 questions, Christian, or you want to move on?
No, I mean, I want to get into talking about MEW a little bit more specifically.
That's where I was going to go. I was going to ask him to compare MEW to the other wallets.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll cut that out, and then here's the actual question. So as we're coming down to the end of the episode, let's talk about the next phases for the MEW wallet, specifically the MEW mobile wallet. There's been a lot of focus on mobile wallets because everyone's starting to realize that if we want people to use this stuff, it's going to have to be on the phone. So can you talk about what's coming in the next in the pipeline for the MyEther mobile wallet? And then also, can you kind of compare and contrast that to the other industry wallets that you see? Like personally, I'm a big fan of Argent Wallet, but there's also Trust Wallet, Coinbase Wallet, the Monolith Wallet. Can you kind of compare and contrast MEW with all those?
Yeah. So initially, like I mentioned before, we created MEW Connect to simply solve a specific problem, like stop users from getting like phished or like hacked, and then you can use this safe solution. But eventually we learned, okay, we have to have more features in this like phone application, and then we created MEW Wallet, which is our mobile app. It's not, and then that's also because 42% of our online time is on mobile devices. And then if you look at like most of the big brands, right, like HTC, Samsung, and even Apple, they are working towards having a separated secure enclave, so isolated device or isolated chip that can keep secrets. And like for example, Samsung already like did the blockchain enclave, and then they already support Ethereum and Bitcoin and the currencies and then the signing methods. So and so we are slowly moving, like mobile phones are slowly moving towards supporting crypto and like having crypto wallets. And the other big thing is that 98% of the developing world only have mobile phones. So they don't even have access to a laptop, because like 98% of the developing world have access to a smartphone, but not an actual desktop or laptop. So in order to reach that audience, which is a huge amount of users, we have to get into mobile. So that's when we created MEW Wallet, and we only had one thing in our mind, that to like just like everything else, we have to make the whole process easy. We have to like let the users get from A to B and by like A to Z in like even so we have this thing zero to crypto in 15 seconds. Especially that's only applicable to US users, because if you have like on iPhone, if you have Apple Pay, you can use Apple Pay to buy ETH on our app, and we are like the one of the first few people to even support that, and which is like in zero to crypto in 15 seconds or less. So that was our mindset, like to do basic tasks, like to send the transactions, to make it, how can we make it easy as much as possible for a user to send the Ethereum transactions from nothing. So if you have zero ETH, what can we do for that user to buy ETH, have it in their wallet safely, and then send it to another person? So that's what we created initially, and then we released it, and we have about 100,000 downloads already. Like we only released it 2 weeks ago, on both like Android and iPhone, Apple, and so that's doing pretty well. And that's when we realized, okay, now people have these like requests. We get these requests where they want to swap, they want to exchange the tokens, or like ETH to another ERC20 token, or like another from one like ERC20 token to another token, all these things. And we partnered with DexAG, which is a DEX aggregator. And
With Scott, you talked to Scott?
yeah, you know him?
Oh yeah, I know Scott.
So
Wait, is this Scott from DeFi Pulse?
That's the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
we know him. We know Scott well.
Nice.
What up,
yeah,
Scott?
we partnered with him. I just talked to him like, well, in through messages like an hour ago or so. So we are like in like going back and forth a lot these days because of our like upcoming release on Android DexAG integration. And they're pretty cool because they were able to aggregate somewhere between 8 to 10 different dexes into one platform. And they even have this cool feature where if they can get you a better rate by combining multiple dexes together, they call it X Blaster, which is a really cool name. That you can use the X Blaster feature, and then it can do like 20% of your trade in like one dex, and like 30% in another dex, and like the rest 60% or like 70%. I don't know. I didn't do the math in my head, but you know what I mean. The rest in like another dex. And then you'll get the best rate. So we are like, okay, this is so cool. We are going to integrate this, and I'm pretty sure like we are the first wallet to actually have the full integration to DexAG, and it's coming up pretty soon to Android users first. I know you guys, both of you, are like Apple users. You just told me, but we will, as soon as we finish this Android version release, we'll start working on the iOS right away, and then get it done as soon as possible. And so yeah, we do that. And then in order to like to answer your the other questions, right? Like how are we different from these competing wallets? First of all, I think having competing wallets is a good thing in this ecosystem, because we don't want users to have just one choice. We want users to have multiple choices, so they can choose whichever one is good for them. But said that, like some of the differences that we have over like some of these other wallets is that like we're completely Ethereum focused. So right now, as of right now, we don't have like Bitcoin or anything. I'm sorry, but
good and a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. But we are like,
if you want users, it's a bad thing.
But like we want Ethereum users to have the full capability, like complete
you're Ethereum native.
Like, yeah, we are Ethereum native, but like we want people to have the ability to do anything and everything in Ethereum. So and then like if you start integrating like different other, like not just Bitcoin, right? Like you integrate Bitcoin and then you have to integrate other chains and then other chains, then it'll get complicated, and like you'll run into this situation where you have too many things, and then you cannot make the user focus on one specific task, or like want to get one specific thing done.
Yeah, when you hear that theory, you integrate Bitcoin, and then where do you just stop after that? You have all the shit coins after that.
Right?
Usually you hear that argument from Bitcoin maximalists that are like, well, once you start integrating other things, then you open up a can of worms, right?
Yeah. So like we honestly, we did think about it. Like we think about having multiple chain support. And but like we decided, okay, let's focus on one thing and then get that thing right, and then make sure we have a like good enough user base, and then let's start listening to that user base. So yeah, some of the differences between MEW Wallet and like other chains, we this is another reason why I brought up Samsung before. Like yeah, Samsung did release the blockchain secure enclave on their phones, the latest phones. So MEW Wallet has complete support. We partnered with Samsung, and we were like one of the first Ethereum wallets to support the secure enclave. So if you actually install our Mi wallet on the Samsung phone, we don't use the normal methods of like saving your the encrypted private key. We use the actual like the secure enclave inside the blockchain phone to save your like the encrypted version of your private key, which adds another layer of security. So that's one thing. So like we are one of the wallets that has the complete support with the Samsung blockchain wallet. And the other thing is that we have this, we did not forget about MEW Connect, like our first mobile app. So we have this huge user base who wants to connect their phone, and they use our app as a hardware wallet or like a similar to a hardware wallet, and then connect it to with my Ether Wallet web application to do everything that my Ether Wallet can do. So that's also another feature that we have. So you can use your Mi Wallet application, and we have this, like if you go to my Ether Wallet and then click on Mi Wallet, you'll get a QR code which you scan, and then it'll create a peer-to-peer connection between your phone and your desktop or laptop or whatever you're using. And then you can do everything that my Ether Wallet can offer without unlocking your wallet inside my Ether Wallet.com. So that's another feature that we offer. And these are like two good like features that we offer aside from compared to other wallets. And and then also we also have like complete support of all the ERC20 tokens. So if you just create a token today, like right now, and then name it whatever you want, like it can be a test token, right?
POV token.
POV token. There you go.
It exists.
And
no,
then,
that's a real thing.
it is? Did you guys
that's a
do
real
it, or
thing.
it's someone else?
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Okay.
69 of them going for like $13
nice.
or $14 on Uniswap.
Really? Okay.
Don't buy them.
I'm not shitting you. Absolutely buy them.
Okay.
They're a scam.
Not a scam. There's just 69 tokens. You can do whatever you want with them.
69 tokens on Uniswap that I can buy for $10 each?
Okay, no, they're not all on Uniswap, but there's 69 total supply, and like half of them are on Uniswap.
Okay. Yeah, so that's something like if you create a new token, let's call it POV1 for this like example, so that it doesn't exist today, and it'll immediately show up on Mi Wallet. So we have like you don't even have to do any manual, like you don't have to reach out to us to add your token to Mi Wallet or anything, unlike other wallets. So you just have to create it in the chain, and then as soon as it creates it, we detect it, and then we'll add it to you. As long as you have to own some tokens in that contract. As long as you own it, it'll just show up on Mi Wallet. So and like I said, we just released.
What do you do? Like, what do you do about like scam tokens, like the kick tokens that get airdropped? What do you do about that?
So as long as if you have it in your wallet, it will show up. And here's a good example that I like, a personal example. So I asked my team to add an exception to kick token, that specific token, because it shows up on our developer. Like we have this developer account that we use. It shows up on our developer account every single time I go there, and then it's all the way on top. And I'm like, I can't do anything with this, and then I cannot even test it. So like, can you please remove it? I'm pretty sure no one wants to like see this even, because it's like you cannot transfer it. And and then we took it out for like 3 hours, and then we got at least, I swear, like 15 emails from people asking what happened to my kick token. I know. And then
what?
I had to, and then
my shitcoin like, go.
My airdrop shitcoin go. Oh no.
God damn it, that was my shitcoin.
Exactly. So what happened to this? Like I saw it like yesterday, and it's not there. It's disappeared. What happened to my like kick token? And we are like, okay, let's just put it back. So this actually happened. It like we took it down, like we had an exception for it like for like 2-3 hours, and then we put it back up. So now we have the ability, like we give the users, and then like eventually, like in one of the future releases, we'll have this feature where they can hide the tokens that they don't want to see.
That makes sense.
So like we give the user the opportunity or the choice to do whatever they want.
So I think this is actually a good transition point. I think this is going to be our last question, but as someone who has really been through the ringer of kind of like scams and all the bad things that can happen with a blockchain wallet, like how do you wrestle between security versus usability in UX? And I think the big reason I asked is because I've tried a lot of these competitors, and one in particular where I was like, wow, the UX is awesome, but like they've made some serious trade-offs. So
Yeah,
like how do you kind of wrestle with
that's
those
uh,
trade-offs?
that's like an ongoing debate that happens every single day inside our team. So and you have to put like privacy to this equation as well, especially because my wallet doesn't track people. We only have like aggregate results. We don't have like any individual statistics on like what people clicked or how many wallets generated or where they sent the money or like funds or anything like that. It's a nightmare for UI developers because they don't know what works and what doesn't work. So it's been pretty hard on them, and then I totally understand. So the one way that we solve this issue is by directly asking our user base, like on Twitter or something, have a survey asking, hey, like what are the good things about what we just implemented, what are the bad things about what we implemented, and like what do, if you have any suggestions, let us know. So that's one way we tackle with this like privacy issue and then not tracking issue. And then usability and then security is like the not the other big question, right? Like what are the trade-offs and where we put the line. And my my personal goal is to always be non-custodial. So we will do everything, anything and everything possible so that people are the users are the ones who have access to their wallet. So if you take that out, there are like tons of ways to make it like perfect usability, like have the perfect user flow. But unfortunately, this puts us in like a really tight situation, a really tight box on how to have a good user flow. But we over the past, that if we learn something over the past 5 years, that's that, like how to balance usability and security, and at what point do we have to jump in to educate the users. So one way is that like Me Wallet still completely non-custodial, and one of the big bottlenecks or issues is that the mnemonic phrase, right? Like people who are already familiar with crypto knows this, like, oh, you had to write down 12 words or 24 words, and then that's the way you access your wallet. But if you're not familiar with crypto, this is like a big step for like a completely new user. But as soon as we solve that bottleneck, everything else just flows. So we can make it easy for them because now we know they own the private keys, and we can create like a good flow, and to make sure that they do like DeFi actions, right? Or like let's start with something simple, right? Send transaction. We can make it look like their phone book or like an email client. So that's exactly what we did. So when you try to send a transaction on Mi Wallet, it looks like your email client. So you just like, because you're already used to it, you just put your like email address or phone number or whatever that you want to type in. You just do the exact same thing. You started typing in your address, and then it'll populate it with like the name or some like however you saved it. So we follow what's already been done. Like we are not trying to reinvent the wheel. People are already used to doing these tasks, right? Like there's Venmo, there's like banking applications. So people are already used to sending and receiving funds that way. And then we try to mimic the same behavior. So we are not trying to introduce new ideas to their head. We try to make use of some like existing ideas and implement it in a way that's applicable to crypto. But I have to say, like, we still haven't found a good enough way to fix that, like the mnemonic phrase or like owning your own private key bottleneck. that's something that we're working on. Like we're trying to figure out, like there are different concepts of social recovery and all that. We're definitely looking into all of those different ones, but it's one of the biggest bottlenecks that like we don't know where to draw the line. So we continue with whatever we have right now, and as we move forward, as we learn new things, as Ethereum develops, as like crypto or blockchain in general develops, there will be a better solution. And as soon as that solution come into play, and I want to be like my wallet, we want to be the first people to implement that feature and then give that ability to users and then make it seamless.
So
Awesome.
if people want to be a user of My Ether wallet or just find out more about the company or you, where should they go?
There are a couple of places. I mean, obviously you can go to myetherwallet.com. That's our main website, and all the news and new announcements, new features, news and everything will be on our Twitter account, which is at myetherwallet. We also have a Telegram group, and we have all the other different social networks as well, like the Instagram and all. But like I would highly recommend, if you want to learn more about My Ether Wallet and announcements and features, yeah, follow at My Ether Wallet. And if you want to learn about crypto, blockchain, and Ethereum in general, you can always go to mewtopia.com. That's MEWtopia.com, where we have our educational articles and posts and like nice pictures and diagrams to explain you how everything is done, or how and what you should do as a beginner to intermediate person. And even if you're an expert, there are like certain articles that you can read to learn more about crypto and blockchain in general.
I don't think you can ever be an expert in crypto.
Right? No, that's a good, yeah, I take it back. Beginner to intermediate.
Comparatively.
But yeah, Kosala, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. This was a really fun conversation, and I learned a lot. And yeah, I mean, I thought this was great. You guys can find the show at POV CryptoPod. You can find me at CK_snarks. Please 5-star reviews, guys. David?
You can find me at Trustless. Excuse me. You can find me at Trustless State, both on Twitter and on Bankless. Thanks, Kosala.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.